Happy holidays! Happy holidays! Today, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and today I want to talk a little bit about two of my favorite bear yarn lines from KnitPicks Stroll fingering weight yarn and Felici fingering weight yarn. These yarns are both 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, fingering weight sock yarns. So, what's the difference between them? I'm going to go into that. We have a small KnitPicks unboxing, and yeah, we'll just chat about a few other things. But right now, one quick announcement. KnitPicks is having a huge luxury yarn sale that's going to go on through, I think, January 2nd, 2019. I've included a link to that sale in the video description, but luxury yarns are up to 40% off. And there's some bear yarns included in that category, so it is really awesome. I also should give a full disclaimer that I am a KnitPicks affiliate, which means I do earn a commission when sales are made through the links that I provide. However, I buy my own product. All thoughts and opinions are my own, and I've been an affiliate since October 2018, but I have been using KnitPicks yarns for almost a decade, and yeah, so I think that history sort of speaks for itself. But I wanted to put that disclaimer out there for all of you. So one quick difference between these two yarns is the way that they are packaged up. You can see that Felici comes in a little bit of a twist with a ball band around it, and Stroll does not. That's just one slight visual difference between them. But you know, otherwise, like they do look very, very similar. They're both 4-ply fingering weight sock yarns after all. But Stroll has 462 yards per 100 grams. And Felici is 436 yards per 100 grams. Now, the reason for this is something that you can see if you have both of them in your hands, but I also got from talking to KnitPicks customer service. Felici has a higher twist. It's slightly denser, and so therefore it has a little less yardage than the Stroll. One other major difference is the mills where they are spun, which honestly potentially accounts for that difference in the yardage. Stroll is made in Peru with a lot of other KnitPicks yarns. Felici is spun in Italy. And you know that KnitPicks self-striping yarn, like Felici comes as a bare yarn, but they also have a self-striping line. And that line is only on the Felici base, whereas they have a lot of other types of colorways on the Stroll base. So I think that some of the differences have to do with the mills. One other difference between these two yarn types is that Felici actually contains a higher quality of merino. I believe that the micron is double checking. Yeah, it's a 19.5 microns, which means that the merino in here is really, really thin and therefore really, really soft. Stroll is also really, really soft. They don't list the micron for the merino here, but the merino in the Felici is a higher quality. And so I think that sort of goes in for the price difference between the two. Whereas sold individually, Felici is $9.99 for 100 grams and Stroll is $8.99 for 100 grams. I've dyed both of them, and they both take up dye beautifully. I think that the higher twist in Felici would make it a little easier to glaze. Maybe some of the dye might penetrate it a tiny bit slower than the Stroll, so you could get, it might be a little easier to get some dye along the surface versus like getting it to penetrate all the way through. But it's overall very, very subtle in terms of the dyeability of the two yarns. But let me take these ball bands off so I can show some other differences since I'm talking about the bear yarns here. All right, so this is a hank of Stroll. It comes with 2 butterfly ties on it, and I don't have a yardstick, but this is how big it is. Felici only comes with one tie on it, and it is not as big. The hank isn't as big, and I think, here, let me sort of hold this up. Another way, you can see the Felici is held taut, the Stroll is not. It is not like a huge difference, but it does make this hank of Felicia a tiny bit thicker than the one of Stroll. So you could definitely reskein if you wanted like a bigger skein to play around with dyeing, but that's just something to keep in mind because it is technically a difference between the two. I have been a good girl and I will add an extra tie to my Felicis because I don't want to tangle them. Ultimately, I think they're both beautiful yarns. They're both available for bulk 50. Oh my goodness. They're both available for bulk 15% off discounts when you go through the bulk Bare Yarn 20 packs. And they're both a lot of fun. I know that Felici, they release the new self-striping yarns, I think about twice a year. And those colors will frequently sell out by the end. Like people get really, really excited for it. I don't think they get shipments of it as often. So sometimes if the bare yarn is gone, then it's going to be gone for a while. Bare Stroll also does sell out occasionally, although this year hasn't been as bad as last year. I think that they are maybe like upping their the amount of stock that they're ordering, but I do always make sure that I have a lot of Stroll in my house. And the reason why I think that I went with Stroll as one of my favorites was that it was cheaper, it was in stock. That was basically it. But let's do this little unboxing, shall we? And this is relevant to what I titled this video. Da 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 da! I just ordered a 20 pack of Felici because I wanted to have this on hand as well. Now, I don't expect that I am going to stock this in my personal Bare Yarn stock as frequently as I do Stroll. Stroll is like one of my 4 go-to bases, and there are a ton of similarities between the Felici and the Stroll. But I am curious to do some side-by-side dyeing videos using both of them. And let me know if that's something that you would be interested in, doing some side-by-side tests, seeing, what kind of differences we see. Maybe, I'm not sure if I'm going to do side-by-side tests, if I should reskein them so that way they're both the same size. That's something that you should let me know also in the comments if you think that that's something that I should do. But yeah, I'm interested in comparing the two of these to each other because I forget when this happened, but maybe it was some point early this year. I actually called them to ask about it. Maybe Stroll was out of stock and I was wondering if Felici would be a good replacement. But I was looking at it and I had a skein of Felici in my house and I was like, they are the exact same ply count. At least like with Hawthorne and Stroll, like there's a real visual difference between the two yarns because Hawthorne is 2-ply, it's a different fiber content, and you look at them and you can immediately tell which one's which. Whereas I think that it could be hard unless you knew which one was which to tell these two apart. There is maybe a really slight color difference between them. I've got Felici, this one's Felici and this one's Stroll. Slight color difference, but not enough that I think it would make a difference in the final color. Basically, I've just been chatting about the difference between today Stroll and Felici. And so, yeah, you have both in stock and you're unable to reskein. Okay, so I can leave as is. Depending on I think that if I was going to dip dye them at the same time, then I should probably reskein, because I think that that would give a more accurate side by side. But otherwise, like I can do some videos leaving them like as is. Plus, that makes it really easy to tell which one is which. I know that I just really enjoyed Felici, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get close enough on this camera to show you, but if you look at them side by side, you can tell that Felici has a higher twist. And so I think, what did they describe? I think Stroll is loftier because there's less twist. I think that was one of the words customer service used. But I was saying, yeah, I was curious. So I called customer service and I was like, so what is the difference? I see that there's a yardage difference. And they told me the main difference is the mills. Yes, Felici is from Italy. I would imagine that the biggest difference in the reason why there's different yardage is because of the mills, and because of the ways the mills spin it. But the merino in the Felici is a higher quality merino. They give the micron, it's 19.5 is I think that when they give the number, it's the average, which means it's like a really thin, really soft merino. They don't tell us on the Stroll, but Stroll is still super soft. But I think that my guess is that if these were done at the same mill, then maybe they would have gone for more of a difference between how they're spun. But I think that they are legitimately different bases. But I think they certainly can be swapped for one another for a lot of dyeing projects. So if one's available, the other's not, that is that is what you can do. Stroll is milled in Peru. As far as I know, and I haven't looked closely, it's possible there's a few of the other newer yarns that are also milled in Italy. Just maybe, but I think most of their yarns do come from Peru. I mean, certainly like Wool of the Andes is Peruvian Highland wool. I haven't looked closely at all the ball bands, but like Felici does say in here, made in Italy, and Stroll does say made in Peru. So yeah, but even so, it was curious, like, why would there be two yarns that are so similar? But likely, my hypothesis is that they wanted to do a self-striping yarn. They found a mill in Italy to help them create these self-striping yarns. And people loved that base so much that they decided to also sell the bare yarn base. This is just a hypothesis. I'm not sure about the order. I don't think I have emails from quite that long. Sometimes I can like go back through old KnitPicks emails to figure out what kind of sales happened last year kind of stuff. But so I don't actually know, but that might be a hypothesis. Thank you. Yes, my purple penguin tree. But yeah, that is like, I get asked this a lot about the difference between these two yarns. And so I thought that it was worth, especially since I had a box of 20 skeins of Felici coming, and this time they're not all earmarked for a project. I was like, it could be fun to start doing some videos on this difference. Because not only does KnitPicks have two yarns with this same fiber content, but a lot of other bare yarn suppliers have a 75-25 sock yarn. And so, yeah, it's like there are like a lot of similarities probably across the board, but do we notice any difference between the way these two dye? You have trouble twisting Felici into skeins. Maybe that's because you're used to the longer Stroll. I agree. I think twisting the Felici is a little harder because it is so short. And so it's funny because I love it a lot. I don't like the way it looks twisted up as much as the way I like the way Stroll looks twisted, which just has to do with the skein size. But that's like a personal preference. So Felici and Stroll. Yeah, I think that they're both great. I initially, when I was planning the Hanukkah special, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a limited edition sock yarn. What yarn base do I want to use? And at one point I was considering Dyer Supplier has this twist base that has, I think, 2 dark plies and 2 light plies. And I was considering using that because it's so cool. But then I realized that it wasn't superwash. And I was like, well, I really should use a sock yarn that is superwash. And I wanted to use something that I haven't used a lot. And so then I was like, Felici, let's get a 20 pack of that. And so that's what I used for the Hanukkah special. You need a Swift. Yeah. The Swifts, I think that Swifts tend to run between like $60 and $100. It's expensive enough that mine is falling apart. Like I have to keep tying the like parts together. I have an umbrella Swift and I have not replaced it yet. I am eyeing the company that made my skein winder, my automated skein winder, sells a double vertical Swift. So you can have 2 skeins on it at a time, and then that would make reskeining a breeze. But yeah, I haven't like purchased that or anything yet because I don't have the demonstrated need yet, nor am I sure that I have place to store it. I'm about to get new furniture for my my knitting studio room, which is basically a glorified ChemKnits closet because I can't really film in there. But I'm gonna upgrade like my like IKEA cube shelving to get. I'm gonna get a 5x5 and a 4x3, and I currently have a 4x4. So I'm hoping to, like right now I have a bunch of clear plastic boxes that have either bare yarn or the ChemKnits Creations inventory stacked in a closet, and it's hard to access. So I'd like to move like the non-shop inventory out of the closet. Let me see. The Burt Swift and KnitPicks is only $50. What company is what? So the company for these 2 yarns today are both KnitPicks. These are both KnitPicks yarns that I'm talking about. The company for my automated skein winder, that was Crazy Monkey Creations, I believe. Crazy Monkey something or other. Yeah, they like basically like cut all these pieces and then you assemble it, and it's really really cool. But it was expensive, really expensive. It was hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But yeah, maybe I should just like get the new, I should wait for Christmas. I don't know what Keith is getting me for Christmas. It's funny. I had a yarn, he usually doesn't get me things off my list. I had a yarn Swift on my list for many years. I finally took it off the list. And then that was the year he got it for me. I think because at that point he was having to be my Swift so often that maybe he wanted a replacement for himself. But yeah. Well, if you're going with KnitPicks, let me just drop in my little affiliate link. And I think, are they still, I'm not sure if it's just for the holidays, but they have free shipping over $50 again. When they had raised it up to $65 earlier in the year. I'm not sure if because of backlash they dropped it back or what. But at least within the US, I know they have free shipping options for other countries as well. And they have that luxury yarn sale going on, which I think the ones that are exciting me, what did I put in my cart? Let's see what I popped into my shopping cart. Some more of the Chroma Twist Bulky. That is 40% off right now. Bare Imagination is at a good price. Bare Gloss Fingering's at a really good price. They're both under $8 right now. And I think Capretta, the non-superwash Capretta, is on like a closeout price. but I think even this Capretta Superwash is on sale. I think just even going, you can sort of sort the shop through through yarn thickness and by like if it's 20, 30, or 40% off. But you can also just go to the Bare Yarn page and then look for what shows up as being on sale. And I keep missing comments. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I've used like the back of a chair, and I ended up with lots of tangles at one other time when I was just trying to do it on the floor. That was not my finest moment. That was not my finest moment. But yeah, I hope that I like provided some good information here. I mean, like I think, well, right now I think if someone were to mix them up and I was going to feel them, I would be able to say, okay, the Felici is softer. And I think this sort of denser nature of it is one reason why people love this yarn so, so much. So I'm not sure if like in terms of having, if I haven't knit socks with both of them, I haven't knit with Felici before. So I'm not sure like, ooh, if this one is like if Felici is the one that like you really, really, really need. I've bought hundreds at this point of skeins of Stroll in the last year. Wow. I think I really have. You're getting your first KnitPicks order today. Yay! It's always fun when the boxes show up. Really, really fun. Yeah, so the Capretta Superwash is new. They had Capretta on like a goodbye sale for a few months, and I was really bummed because it was a really nice yarn. I am so excited when they came out with a superwash version of it, and that they made the bare yarn for it too. I think that, especially for a sock yarn, people want superwash. If people are going to knit socks, they want to be able to wash them. They want their recipients to be able to wash them. And so I think that it's great that they did that. So, but both forms of Capretta are currently on sale. The non-superwash one, which once it's gone, it's gone, and then the superwash one. But did I not put any Capretta? I thought I had Capretta in my cart. Maybe it's sold out. That would make sense. I have a design that I was working on that I was intending to use Capretta for. This shows how old this design is. Okay, so Bare Capretta does still exist. Yes, it is $7.79 down from $13. And let me look up the Capretta Superwash right now, which I have some of that in my stash. Capretta Superwash, the original price is $14.99 and it's currently at $11.99. So it is on sale as well. One of the reasons, because it might seem that there's like a huge price jump between, I think, the Capretta and the Capretta Superwash. KnitPicks raised prices on a lot of their yarns. I know wool prices have increased across the board. They raised prices earlier this year. I forget, maybe it was around the summer that they raised prices on a lot of the yarn. And I think that since the old non-superwash Bare Capretta was on closeout, even then, I think they didn't bother raising the price on it because I think that they're just trying to move it out the door. So that's one hypothesis that I have. And did you guys see? So I don't use a lot of acrylic yarn, but KnitPicks came out with, they have these acrylic minis, which is really exciting to me. And now I can't find it. I wish I could. I guess if I had set up my whole streaming software. Yeah, so there's Brava mini packs where you can get from between $13 and $20. You can get either 10 or 25 grams of 24 colors, which is amazing because there's so many, I think that Brava otherwise is sold as in a 100-gram ball and it's really affordable. But if you wanted something with a bunch of colors that isn't a huge project, you'd have to buy a lot of yarn. And I don't frequently buy acrylic yarns unless these days I want to do an experiment or something with it for the channel. But these packs look so pretty that they have me really tempted. I didn't buy any, but like there's a jewel pack. I don't know. I think anything that comes with like a bunch of colors is just really, really exciting. Well, I think, so what, if you have, how many grams would be in that? So 25 grams of 24 colors would be 600 grams. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a lot, but not necessarily enough for a blanket. Not horrible, though. You could do something small. Yeah, so you could do some really awesome like using these if there's for like some kind of chevron or something would just be so, oh crap. Now I want it. I'm like, I'm not allowed. I have a new rule. I'm not allowed to buy yarn unless I have a bare yarn for the channel I can do. I'm not allowed to buy yarn for my personal stash without having an explicit reason behind it, because I have a huge stash of yarn. Now, if I were to go to like a knitting convention expo, that would be a different story, because supporting other artists, you know. But otherwise, I really try to rein myself in. But it's just like I had to have a rule with my own bare yarns, or not my own hand dyed yarns. I have like a box, and it's like one in, one out. Like I have a box of stuff that I'm keeping for myself, and it's like, you can keep these, but if there's another one you want to keep, then you have to let one of these go. Especially some of the ones that I've held on and I haven't made anything out of, because I'm like, you are so pretty, I just want to look at you, kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Huh, you find the stroll to really fluffy up. Does the Felici also fluff up looking decay instead of a thin fingering? I mean, I think, so the Felici, it probably would fluff up. Felici is denser than the stroll. So my guess is, like, I found that stroll sometimes can end up looking pretty thin. And I think that the Felici has a bit more spring to it, and that you would probably be able to get a slightly denser sock. It's just my hypothesis looking at it too. Fiber collects itself, doesn't it? Whether it's yarn or fiber, it doesn't seem to matter much. Yep. I had a year that I was like, okay, I'm not allowed to buy yarn. I can only buy unspun fiber, and then I have to spin my own yarn as like a stash down thing. But then that was the year I got pregnant with Lucas. And so I was like, well, I amended it so like if I have a specific project, I can buy yarn. But it is, yes, I like yarn. You just bought more of the Sail Chroma Twist Bulky. Wait, I missed the comment. Just bought some. You have that kind of rule, but I can buy it because I might not have enough Pegasus to finish the sweater you're working on. Yeah, one of my goals, hello camera, I am right here. Thank you. One of my goals for the new year is to make more time for knitting for myself. Like I think that sometimes like I've been spending a lot of time like editing and stuff, and so I'm hoping to like really, even if I have to like schedule some like low-key knit kind of days in my schedule, then I will. I mean, the kids are now at a stage where I can leave my spinning wheel out around them, and I believe that I can almost leave knitting out without them pulling it apart as well, and so that definitely helps. Definitely helps. Yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me for this chat, and I hope that this like cleared up a little bit between the two. Ultimately, I'm not sure if you were trying to use both of these yarns in one project, you would probably see a little bit of a difference on how they knit up. However, for your own dyeing adventures, I think that they're a pretty good substitution for one another. And thankfully, like the cost difference isn't like that big. But yeah, no, quilting, I quilt slowly, slowly. I have a top finished, and of course, then I realized I messed up the top, but I'm going with it because the kid uses like just baby quilts still. So I'm going to go with it. And ooh, maybe I should work on finishing it. Not this week, after our company leaves right after New Year's. I'll do the quilt sandwich and then do the quilting. But yeah, I guess it's my second quilt that I'm working on. But anyway, I am not sure. Oh, I might do a live on ChemKnits' birthday. ChemKnits will be 10 on December 28th. And so I'm not sure yet because we have company if I'm going to be able to go live. I might try to go live at some point to at least give everyone a huge, huge thank you. But there will be some other really, there will be some really other exciting things. So keep an eye on the ChemKnits Instagram and Facebook page for that. And yeah, thank you guys so, so much for joining and chatting with me today. And I hope that all of you who celebrate have a very Merry Christmas, and that everyone else has a very Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Oh yes, my mugs. Yes, the mugs are in Zazzle. Let me drop that link. Whoop, that did not work. The mugs are, I'm selling the mugs through Zazzle. The mugs and the ChemKnits diary, those are all on Zazzle. And then the tote bags that I have are through my Etsy store. And so a link there is in the video description too. But yes. Oh yeah, and happy solstice. But Pauline, I'm sorry, I'm just signing off. But yeah, I hope that you guys all have the happiest of holidays and filled with lots of warmth, squishy fiber, and laughter. There will still be fun videos coming out. Like I'm not stopping my 2-a-week schedule just because of the holidays or anything. So yeah, if you need some time to like escape, I got you covered. So I will chat with all of you soon. Bye, everyone.